Teenagers may think they have their whole lifetime to learn how to deal with their finances, but learning smart money management early can mean avoiding costly mistakes later. Ted Beck, President and CEO of the National Endowment for Financial Education, joins us now from New York with some advice for parents and teens. Welcome to the show. What is the state of finances when we're talking about the American teen and how they handle their money?
Well, actually, there was just a very important study that was completed that compared how our 15-year-olds are doing with against 15-year-olds around the world. 18 countries were surveyed. Regretfully, we came in right in the middle, number 9, sort of painfully average. And only 9% of our young people actually performed in the top category. So we've got some work to do, and this should be a national priority. If we really want to make sure our young people are competitive in a global economy, we really need to make sure that they understand how to keep their financial house in order.
Right, and I think it's all about starting early and then carrying good habits when it comes to money, hopefully, into their adult life. Now, what are some tips you can offer families with students, parents and the teens themselves to prepare them to manage those finances, as they go into college and even after that?
Well, it's very important that the parents be involved here, and the number one positive factor, influence factor in turning out financially capable children is parental involvement. So talk to your children starting at a very early age about money. How does money get into the ATM machine? When you're paying your bills, explain what you're doing so that they can start to understand how the family dynamic and economics work. Also, if they can open a checking account or a savings account so that they can see how the money accumulates in a bank, and they can be exposed to the banking system very early on is a good step. And having a conversation, not a lecture, but a continuous conversation about how money works, we think is a very positive step. And if you're not quite sure where to start with that, you can go to our website, smartaboutmoney.org, and that'll give you some tips and some ideas about not only how to have the discussion, but ideas, things that you should be covering.
I think those are some great tips and ideas because it's all about communicating and making sure they know the value of that dollar and where it's coming from. Tell us, what are some of the pitfalls that younger adults commonly experience when they get out there on their own, maybe when they go to college for the first time?
Well, it's not only going to college, but also getting your first job. Several things that we always tell people to pay attention to. First of all, develop a realistic budget, something you can live within, but also within that should be some sort of emergency savings account. So if something happens, you actually have money to help address that issue. Second, pay attention to how credit cards work. Very often young people don't understand the mechanics of a credit card, how the interest rate works, the importance of trying to pay it off monthly, and very important, don't have late payments, don't have missed payments, because that directly affects your credit score. That may limit your ability to do things you want to do going forward. And also debt is a big issue. Both credit card debt and also student debt. Understanding what your obligations are, figuring out how you're going to pay that off, and also making sure that you minimize the debt you maintain so that you don't paint yourself into a corner. Are all very critical steps we think young people should be talking about and be aware of as they start to go out on their own.
All right, Ted, and finally, we've been talking about teens and teaching them about money, but when should we start? How young can we start having those financial conversations with our kids?
Well, I think they can start at a very early age. The ATM is a great one. How did the money get in there? And that's something you had to earn, and young people can understand that. Also, starting with allowances and possibly asking them to set some money aside to save for something or something that they think is valuable. Great places to start, never too early.
All right, Ted Beck, President and CEO of the National Endowment for Financial Education, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.